Hey guys, welcome back for another Shift Short. This is Daniel. I am going to forgo the reading for tonight and just jump straight into the topic. It's something that has come up in conversation over the past week or so, just my own life, kind of reflecting back on my career and evaluating how much of a workaholic I've been before and, how my time commitment to the job has changed over the years. It's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. There was a stretch from, I'd say it was beginning of 2019 through a good bit of 2022, where I was working an average of 20 to 23 days a month. And most of that time it was 12-hour shifts, and later on, and I got bounced between 24s a little bit. But still working the same equivalent number of hours was absolutely insane. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. But I know it's got me thinking as now as I don't thankfully have to work as much. But I've reflected a good bit on, how my mental health was during that time and what the fluctuations were in my mental health and other things that I've observed, reasons other people tend to bury themselves in work. And I mean, we can't escape the fact that pay sucks. we have an epidemic of low pay everywhere. Everybody has to work extra. Everybody has to have multiple jobs. If you're one of the few that doesn't have to, kudos to you. You're lucky. Like, that's fucking awesome that you're able to have that. And I mean that sincerely. Like, that's not meant sarcastically at all. But I feel like because we've gotten so used to that, we've normalized it, it's kind of turned into a coping mechanism where when we have a bad breakup, we bury ourselves in overtime. When we have shit going on with our significant other, we go bury ourselves in overtime. When we're dealing with trauma or not dealing with trauma, whether we're just experiencing the effects of trauma, we bury ourselves in work. And it's turned into this weird escapism. And I guess I want us to have a conversation about it where I understand that we all have to work extra. We all work stupid hours in this job at a baseline. Working 24-hour shifts. Again, I'm grateful for the schedule I have now because it works for me. But still, there are days where it's like, oh my God, for 24 hours, do I really have to be gone for that long? We all go through that. We all experience that. So, I get that it's a necessity, but I think we need to have the conversation about how are we dealing with the rest of our life, and are we using it as an escape from shit that we need to deal with? And there's kind of just three general things that I want to talk about. That work is not a healthy escape from. So first off, work is not a healthy escape from family. I get it. You gotta pay the bills. Good vibes and passion for the job don't do that. You have to do it. Life is not cheap right now. We all feel that. But if things aren't right at home, burying your head in the sand and working a ton of overtime to avoid those problems is not gonna help. It's actually gonna make them a lot fucking worse. So and work can be kind of a safe place for us sometimes because it's people like us, we do the same things, we experience the same stuff. There's a shared trauma in a sense, but there's also just a communal bonding that we have, if you will, some trauma bonding. But even outside of that, we feel safe at work. Even if we don't like the people we work for, we still feel safe at work. It's really fucking weird. But we use that as a way to be absent from home. And something I've come to learn more is, as I've gotten older, is the importance of being present. And it's not just about how much you're present at home. As you can have people who are home all the time and they're not present. They're not actually engaged in what's going on, in what the needs of the family are, what the needs of their significant other, their kids, whatever the case may be. Or if you live with your, nuclear family, your parents, your siblings, whatever, you still need some level of harmony there. And work is just not a good escape for that. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't make anything better. It may make you feel better. You may get a slight, sense of reprieve, but you're not actually going to feel better. You're just prolonging the problem. You're avoiding the problem. And you can't do that in life. Now, are there times where you need to walk away from issues? Absolutely. Are there times when you should get a divorce? Yes, I have been divorced. Michelle has been divorced. Most of the people in this job who have been in it for any length of time have been divorced. And those who haven't, cool, good for you. Like, that's awesome. But it's also not like the end of the fucking world, like it can be made out to be, especially by certain religious groups. Like, you're not going to do your kids any favors if you stay somewhere that you shouldn't. And if you stay in a relationship that's not healthy for you, it's not doing anybody any favors. It's actually going to cause more problems, more trauma, more hurt, all the things. So sometimes that is what you need to do to deal with things. Sometimes you need to deal definitively with those issues at home. And sometimes that dealing with it is messy and it sucks, but you have to actually face it. You can't run away from it. You can try, but it's going to catch up with you. You're going to have to pay the piper at some point. Shit's going to come due. You're just going to have to deal with it at some point. So deal with it. Face it head on, whatever it is. Second thing is that work is not a healthy escape from your physical health. Now, and this is a touchy subject for people. Anytime you talk about fitness and wellness and everybody comes out of the woodwork with reasons why they are the way they are, reasons why they can't do this, can't do that, whatever, reasons why, you're just being rude, We're meant to be physical creatures. We're meant to move. We're meant to grow stronger. We're meant to be active. There's no amount of technology that removes that from us. It's not just an option. It's our bodies were designed to be active. And I'm not saying that from a Christian standpoint. I'm just saying, period. Whatever faith you believe, whatever you believe about the origins of mankind, humanity was not meant to be a passive species. You look at anybody, you look at any demographic anywhere, people who are sedentary, they have shorter lives, they have less happy lives, they have more painful deaths, they're more prolonged deaths. It's awful, and that process starts earlier and earlier and earlier. The people who are active tend to be happier, healthier, they live longer, they take care of themselves, all the things. So I get it. Our schedules pose a seemingly insurmountable obstacle to physical wellness. The schedules are erratic, there's no consistency, it's a pain in the ass. And I get that there's obstacles, I really do get it, but obstacles can't be your excuses. Just because your life's hard, cool, so is everybody else's. Everybody else's life is hard. Everybody's life is busy. Everybody's working too many hours. Cool. Next. What's your next objection? So sometimes it means you need to get up earlier. Sometimes it means you need to stay up later. Sometimes it means that you need to find time on shift to do things. You can squeeze in 10 push-ups between calls. If you just sprinkle that throughout your day, you can do that. Go start doing just walking laps around the parking lot at the station. You can do that. It's not impossible. It's not difficult. It just requires purposeful action. So, whatever it takes, you need to get active. You need to get stronger. You need to get healthier. Not because, this is a guilt trip. No, it's what you were designed to do. You wouldn't take let's go with a low-hanging fruit. You wouldn't take a Lamborghini out on some dirt country roads and just let it sit out in the pasture. No, that's not what that thing was meant to do. And not all of us have bodies of Lamborghinis. Genetics vary from person to person, but guess what? Cars were meant to fucking move. They're meant to fucking move. And that's just a machine. What about your body? Your body is literally built to get faster, to move, to do things, to lift, to push, to pull, all of it. go do it. And this extends to your diet too, because if you actually care, because I hear this excuse all the time. Oh, I eat like shit because of the job. No, you eat like shit because you choose to. I could sit here and we could have a whole ass conversation about how to do meal prepping properly, about how to bring things to work that don't need to be refrigerated, or if they do, they can be just tossed in a cooler for the day and don't need to be reheated. If you actually exercise some intentionality, you can eat very, very, very fucking healthy on this job. But you have to not only think through it, but be willing to take any ridicule or pushback from people. Because people are going to see, oh, well, like, what are you eating hard-boiled eggs for? Or why are you just eating beef jerky? Or why are you, what's up with all the just like the random fruit and nuts and all that shit? Like, people criticize it because it's not normal. And unfortunately, in public service, a lot of people are afraid of things and they feel intimidated by things they don't understand. And it's not right, it's not healthy, but you have to make that decision to own up to that shit. So take care of your body. Take care of what you put in your body, because that's going to affect both your physical health and your mental health. And that's the third thing I want to talk about here, is that work is not a healthy escape from addressing your mental health. And we're all different in this. And I'm gonna say something that I think is gonna be a little controversial, as if I don't do enough of that already. But when you shouldn't ever be trauma comparing, in the sense of you shouldn't be trying to invalidate the traumatic experiences of others. However, you also need to keep some perspective and say, you know what? Yep, I've had some bad shit happen to me, but I'm not the only one. And there's plenty of people who have dealt with worse than me. Let me go find out from those people who have figured it out how I can get better. What can I do to take responsibility for this? And sure, it's things outside of your control maybe that caused it. Or maybe it was your own fault that brought it on. It doesn't matter. Whatever the kind of trauma it is, whether it's sexual trauma, physical abuse, religious trauma, relationship trauma, fill in the blank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still up to you what you do with your life moving forward. None of that removes the control of the narrative from you. You are still able to figure out your own shit, and it may take the rest of your life. Listen, you can't put a timeline on healing from stuff, and I get that. And so the point isn't that, you need to strive to be healed. No, that's not the point. You should strive for the journey of healing. And I know this is very new agey and hippy dippy, whatever. It's just like going to the gym. Or, because again, low hanging fruit, easy example. You may never get the Arnold Schwarzenegger body. Most of us can't. Or at least it would require the amount of time commitment that 90% of us don't have, or aren't willing to do. But you know what? Still showing up and lifting heavy shit and trying to get better and pushing better. That process, it's a process of growth. And the same thing applies for our mental health. Yes, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have slow progress. You're going to have fast progress. You're going to have ups and downs. Things are going to go sideways, but you're still moving somewhere. You're still trying. You're still fighting for it. And I'm a big proponent of the topic of energy. People carry energy and they project energy and they absorb energy. And you can argue about the science behind this and whatever. But what I've found that has been very crucial for me is looking at what is the negative energy that I carry around from traumatic experiences, bad experiences, my own overthinking, whatever. Taking all of that and seeing that as radioactive. Saying this is actively going to kill me if I don't deal with it. Now, sometimes that means you just have to shield yourself and you just have to figure out what to do with that hurt. Sometimes it means you literally have to get it out of you. Whatever the case may be, that stuff will slowly kill you if you don't do something about it. If you don't start doing whatever preventative medication, whatever Yeah, the analogy can go as far as you want it to. Point being, it's up to you to deal with it. And if you're just using burying yourself in work as an excuse to distract yourself, because that's ultimately what coping mechanisms and escapism is all about. It's not about fixing a problem. It's not about actually addressing things. It's about finding a way to not think about it, to not address it. And what I can tell you, the worst shit in my life happened when I was burying my nose in work. The worst decisions I've ever made. And not just the worst decisions, but the worst habits that even carried over after I wasn't working so much. The habits that I reinforced for years still come back to haunt you eventually. So your habits matter. The mindset that you walk around with, and how the mindset with which you view work and your family, your health, both mentally and physically, is incredibly important. That's not a neutral thing. And especially in public service, we are so prone to being workaholics, and it does become an addiction. And we can have the conversation about, you need to change your spending habits, live within your means. Yes, that is true. Still doesn't change the fact that none of us get paid enough. So my point in all of this is, we can't always escape the fact that we have to work. Sometimes that's just an inevitable fact. It's going to happen. But be intentional with your life. I know we beat this drum over and over and over again, but especially this month, talking about your mental health. When you work that much, when you're clocking double or close to double the working hours of an average individual in a pay period consistently, it's not good for you. Heads up, newsflash, it's not great for you. So whether you need to find something else to do to earn money that breaks that up, that has less of a time commitment, or you just need to make some significant changes in your life and how you eat and what you spend money on. Maybe you need to sell your car or your truck. Maybe you need to get a different place to live. Whatever the case may be. Maybe you need to move back in with your parents. That happens to some people, and that's fine. But you need to take ownership of that and not let work run your life. Look at what kind of lifestyle you want to have. And this was a big thing for me, was coming to terms with the fact that I realized that there were things I wanted in life, not just actual literal things, but experiences and memories and things I wanted to be able to go do and achieve that I can't do. Even if I worked every waking hour that I had, I'd never be able to achieve. And so that's why there's been a shift in my life and what I do with my life. And that's me looking for my dreams and my potential. That's the fucking American dream. That's what's awesome, is anybody can go do that shit. And maybe that's not for you, but you need to evaluate that. You need to evaluate your lifestyle through the lens of, how do I actually want to live, not just how do I want to survive. You've got to wage war for your mind. You've got to fight tooth and fucking nail for your own health, for your own mental well-being, and not use work as an excuse. That's all I've got for you guys tonight. Be safe. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.